Have you ever opened a history curriculum, felt overwhelmed, and thought, I don't even know where to start? Or maybe your child has declared loudly that history is boring, and now you're wondering how to turn this ship around. Today, I'm going to give you a simple step-by-step plan you can use from elementary all the way through high school. You can teach history with confidence, and it doesn't have to feel overwhelming. Hey, homeschool mom. I'm Erika Sagert on the Intentional Homeschooler podcast with more actionable steps and encouragement for your homeschooling journey so you can confidently and intentionally homeschool your children without sacrificing your sanity. Grab a pen and paper, your favorite cup of brew, and let's get started. Here's something I've learned after years of teaching history in my own home and at Hope Learning Center. Most homeschool moms aren't struggling with history because it's difficult. They're struggling because it feels limitless. Where do you begin? What's essential? What do you skip? So today, I want to give you a simple structure, a roadmap, so you can breathe, enjoy the process, and help your kids see history as the unfolding story of God's faithfulness. First, remember the foundation. History is God's story unfolding. So history isn't just about dates and facts. It's a timeline of God's faithfulness generation after generation. When you see it this way, you realize something. You don't have to cover everything. You can focus on the big story, the patterns, the character lessons, and you can follow your child's curiosity without feeling guilty. This mindset alone relieves so much pressure. All right, next, here is a simple framework for all ages. I'm going to call them the 3 layers of history. So this framework works in every grade level and prevents overwhelm. First, the story layer. What happened? So this is the basic narrative, the spine of history. The second part of this framework is the people layer. Who lived it? This layer includes biographies, character lessons, heroes, and villains. 3, the connection layer. Why does it matter? This is where we connect events to faith, virtue, choices, and today's world. Most moms try to start with layer 3, about the why, or feel guilty that they're not doing every layer every day. But you only need all 3 layers over the course of a year, not in every moment. So those 3 layers again are what happened, who lived it, and why does it matter? All right, next, how can you structure a year of history in elementary? So elementary history should be light, joyful, and story-driven. So here is a simple structure for your elementary history. So choose a time period or cycle, like ancients, medieval, early modern, or modern. And then read a story-based spine 1 to 3 days per week. So an example would be Veritas Press history cards or Story of the World. Both of these are chronological and they are story-based. I would add a biography per month and then add 1 to 2 hands-on experiences per unit. Don't necessarily do it weekly. That might be too much, but at least 1 to 2 hands-on per unit. Listen to audiobooks or watch documentaries for fun. And then end the semester, so I say like twice a year, end that part of the unit, that first half, and then the second half with a project or presentation. That's it. No need to master everything. No need to follow every single activity in the curriculum. So your main goal for elementary history is to help your child love history and recognize God's hand across generations. All right, next, I want to talk about how to structure a year in middle school history. So, middle school is where structure gently increases, but it still doesn't need to be overwhelming. So, I want you to use the same 3-layer framework. So, story, people, connection. Okay, who, what, and why. A weekly rhythm might look like this: 2 days of reading or video lessons, depending on what curriculum you're using, 1 day for writing or discussion, a simple narration is fine, and then 1 day for map work, timelines, or a project. Optional: try reading a historical novel each quarter or perhaps even each month. So some of the specific curriculum recommendation choices that I suggest are Knotgrass from Adam to Us. This is faith-based and definitely a chronological approach. And then Beautiful Feet books, which is more literature driven. So the main goal for middle school history would be to develop critical thinking skills, not just rote memorization, and then let them start asking, what can we learn from this? And what patterns do we see? All right, so next, how to structure a year in high school. High school is where students start to engage with history more like adults. They will analyze ideas, they'll look at worldviews, and they'll look more at the cause and effect of the events in history. Here is a simple high school weekly structure. So something like a short video lecture or reading, probably 3 to 4 days a week for that. And then a primary source reading. So excerpts from, primary sources. That means sources that were written during the time period of whatever history that you're studying. So add some of those primary sources in there and then have them do a weekly written response or discussion. And then each semester, you're going to want to do more of a long-term project or a hands-on project based on the units that you have covered. Some recommended curriculum for high school I give you are Dave Raymond's history. That's found on Compass Classroom. There's American history, modernity, Christendom, and antiquity. Knotgrass high school courses are also very solid, faith-based, challenging, and doable. And then Sunlight history will be more literature rich. So those are all really good. So the main high school goal is to teach them to interpret events through a Christian worldview and to recognize patterns of human nature, leadership, and moral choices. All right. So one last topic I want to talk to you about today is the overwhelm-free method. So here are the rules that I give every mom. First of all, you do not need to cover everything. Pick a lane and walk it faithfully. Decide what you're going to work through. Decide on a curriculum and faithfully walk through it. Second point to a overwhelm-free history, discussion is more important than projects. So talk with your kids more and don't stress about elaborate activities. Now, the hands-on projects do make history more interesting and they make it come alive, more relatable, but don't let the projects overwhelm you. Discussion is very important as well. Consistency beats intensity. So 20 minutes a day goes much further than 2 hours once a week. So a little bit every day rather than trying to do it all at one time. Follow curiosity when it shows up. So if your child questions something or you can tell that they're really interested in a certain topic, that is a doorway to deeper learning. So look for those cues, look for those areas of interest for your child and take some extra time on those. And then the last overwhelm-free method is to keep the end in mind. So one of the goals of history should be to shape discernment, wisdom, and faith. It's not to fill a bucket with trivia, okay? It's not just to know those historical facts. It's to really foster a love of learning and foster a love of looking at events with a Christian worldview to learn about humanity and to learn about how actions change things. So we can see the patterns of history and see how it changes the future of mankind. So today, I gave you a simple roadmap to structure your history year from elementary through high school. So first, I want to remind you, remember that history is God's story unfolding. Use the 3 layers of history framework. Keep elementary years focused on the story and joy. Make middle school about thinking and connection. And then guide your high school students toward analysis, worldview, and discernment. And above all, remember, you don't need to know everything. You just need a good plan and a willingness to walk through the story together. You can teach history. You can do it confidently, simply, and without overwhelm. If any of this resonates with you, you have further questions, or you want to find out about the work I do at Hope Learning Center, book a virtual coffee chat with me. The link to my calendar is in the show notes. You can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, as well as right here, where a brand new episode will drop every other Thursday. Until next time, you've got this, Mom.